Hi everyone, so back again. So one of the most commonly asked questions or bits of advice I get asked for during a bike fit is how to fit handlebar tape. Now I know there's thousands of videos on YouTube, but I get asked multiple times a week on how to do it. So I'm gonna make another video, which is just after how to change the stem, on how to fit handlebar tape onto a bike and the way that I do it. And I thought it would be quite nice for you to see, because this handlebar tape, I've sort of taken it off right down to the drops already. And it's pre-used, of course. So it's not a video of like getting new tape and it's all lovely and fresh and everything. This is going to be handlebar tape that's been on. You can see it's already sort of a little bit molded to the handlebars already, even a little nick here. But it's got this sort of silicone adhesive, which is really nice to take on and off, to unwind the bar tape and actually to put it back on. So you don't need to change the handlebar tape. Not yet anyway, it's in pretty good condition. So we'll just put it back on. So what you need to do is, if you are changing it or changing handlebars, or like I've had to do during the bike fit, is move the shifters upwards, because they were quite angled down and one wasn't level compared to the other one. So the cables are going to be loose. So just get some insulation tape, can be any color because it's going to be hidden by the handlebar tape, or even indeed sellotape. I mean, you can see from the factory they've used sellotape just to hold it on. And it's also this is quite a nice video as well, because these cables, when you're doing the handlebar tape, when you're putting the handlebar tape back on, they actually get in the way a little bit. So if you've got a bike similar to this, you're going to see what happens during that. Right, so what I normally do about put the insulation tape on in 3 places, and these handlebars have got a little groove for the cable to sit in. So just do a couple of winds like that, tear it off, just after the curve. And that's all it needs, because once the handlebar tape is on, it's not going to move. And then just one near the end, not quite at the end where you know the tape is going to finish. And just do that. And then same on this side. So just place the cable into that groove. Normally do it from the front of the bike, but just to show you what I'm doing, I'm just doing it from the back of the bike. And then again, near where you think the tape is going to end, but not quite at the end, otherwise you might get insulation tape showing through. And then what I like to do is, preferably where the cables are running along the front of the bar here, is I like just to hold on to it and just feel where that cable is in my hand. Ideally you want the brake cable to be sort of sitting in one of the creases, either the crease here or the crease here. Just have a feel of that, because before the tape goes on, you can just manipulate where you want that cable to go, and then that just makes it feel nicer. Of course, once the tape is on, you're not going to feel it as much, but it will be there. So it's just a nice little trick just to do that. And of course my hand's a little bit bigger than the actual rider that owns this, but as long as I can get it roughly in a nice place, that should translate across to her as well. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with where those cables are. Right, so I know this is already on, hopefully you can see that, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to unwind it and then show you from the start, just so you can see how to do it from the start again. So just a little handlebar plug, it just pushes in, and then like that. And then you can see it's already sort of pre-formed to the bar, and a little bit was, this little lip here was going in, which just holds the handlebar plug in. So if you just put that in, okay, well these are nice ones. I would still put a little bit in like it was fitted, but these, you could almost push that in and then start the tape there if you wanted. But I'm going to do it like it was. Take that out. And just put that into there. Hopefully you can see that, and just put a little bit of tension on it, and then just wrap it round just like that. Now with this tape, or most handlebar tape, it's actually tapered, so it's thicker in the middle and thinner on the sides. So ideally what you want to do is when you're overlapping, and it might become a little bit more apparent as I come here just because of the light. Actually maybe I will turn some lights on. Sorry about the shaking camera. Does that make any difference? Don't know. Okay, but it'll become more apparent here. So, and I'm just pulling gently on it because I don't want to pull it too tight and then I may snap it because it's already been used, as I mentioned. So just doing that, and then as the tape goes on, you almost want to be lapping the sort of 5mm on either side over the other side, so it's sort of lapping like that. And then what happens is you end up, and it's quite nice and even. It's not, doesn't have many bumps on it, so when you hold it, it feels nice. Now you do get tape that is purposely has bumps, but that's not this tape. So I'm just doing a bit of an overlap, make it nice and even, and say just gently pulling on it just to make it a little bit tight. And then come around. Now this is the part that I get asked all the time. And it's the crisscross pattern behind here. So this has already got some tape which hides the clamp, which is nice. But I still like to do a crisscross pattern. It's just a nice way of finishing off, and when the rider looks down, they might not even notice it, to be honest. But I like to do it. And hopefully there's enough length in this tape for me to do it. But I'll show you how to do it anyway, even if there isn't enough length. And then I'll just redo it the normal, sort of a normal way. So you come up, and you want to leave a little bit of a gap at just below the shifter for when you do the X. So as I said, come around here, and it can vary, but there's about a 10-15mm gap here. So you come around here, and then what you want to do is, as you come around the front, instead of wrapping it and just going around again underneath the shifter, and hopefully you can see this, you go around and then through if you wanted to call it the back of the handlebar, if we call this the front of the handlebar, so around through here, around underneath, and then you're going to go diagonally towards the outside of the handlebar. So like that, then over, and then down again. Now when you do that, I need to be a little bit careful. I don't know if you can see the handlebar tape is a little bit split, but that's going to be covered anyway, so it's not an issue, except for me if I pull it tight and break it. So up and over, again pulling gently on it, and then back down through the back of the handlebar here, making sure that you're not leaving any excess gaps. And so I have to be a little bit careful of this because it has got that split, but it's going to be covered, so it's not an issue. So, and then round the front of the bar, through there, then back up, or back through, and over the top again. And then you just carry on winding it to the end. So let me show you that again, because it can be a little bit confusing. So, wrap it up nice and evenly. Actually, I'm not quite happy with that last wrap there. There, that's a bit more even. And of course, this is the finishing touch, so you want it to be nice and neat. Okay, so around. And I'm just looking at the front here just to make sure I don't leave any gaps here. So there, so there's quite a big gap here now that I've just evened out the spacing. So I'm going to have to go around again. There you go, and then that's left about a 10mm gap. I wonder if I can, I will move the camera so you can have a look. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, okay, so there's a little bit of a gap here where my thumb is. Just put that back on. Just reposition the camera. Sorry about this. As I say, it's live. Hope that wasn't too loud into the microphone. Okay, so round the front, leaving that gap that I just showed you. And then you're going to come, again, if I call this the back of the handlebar, the front of the handlebar. So round the back, and then diagonally up and over the shifter. Just keeping my finger there for some tension. Watching that little nick there. So nice pressure. So diagonally up and over, then down through the inside here, and then back diagonally towards the outside of the bar, like that. And it makes for a nice little crisscross pattern. So down diagonally to the outside of the bar. Then I'm going to cover this little gap that I showed you. So just holding my thumb there, making sure it's nice and tight and no gaps. Then back through the back of the bar diagonally again, up and over. And there you go. Nice little crisscross pattern. And then carry on winding it on, like I mentioned before, with that sort of tapered edge to tapered edge, trying to keep nice and even. And I'll show you on the other side as well. See, you can see it twice. There you go. And you can see I'm trying to make it nice and even here. And then round, and this one has already been cut diagonally, but I'll show you again, because when I took off the tape originally, the insulation tape actually split it. If you can see, it tore the handlebar tape. So what I'm going to do is, and again, you know, this is a shame because it's existing tape, it's not a fresh new one out the box, which is really nice and easy to do, and it's got a certain length to it, whereas this one's already been fitted. So I'm playing with an existing length, and anything like this that's happened, or the little nick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back it off a little bit, because I want to get rid of this split here. And then grab a pair of scissors. Now you want to, I also get asked this a lot, this tapering, to make sure that you have a nice straight edge. So you want to cut it at an angle. And what I normally do is I just make a visual line of where I want the tape to end. So I'm gonna make it end roughly there. And then you grab a scissors and then just cut a nice line, aiming for that point. Sometimes longer scissors make it better, but these are nice and sharp. And then like that. So let's tape it on. Actually, I've left a little bit there, so I'll just wind one more off and just get rid of that. And you want it to be a nice straight line, as straight as you can get it. I don't know if you can see it, but it's straight, and then there's a little corner there, so I'm just going to trim that off. And then the other thing I normally do, probably just out of habit, doesn't really make a difference, is where it's very pointed at the end there. Sometimes that, you know, when you're tightening the handlebar tape on at the end, that can sort of sometimes pull off. I don't think this one will, but I just take that off, and so it's a nice thick edge there. And just wind that back on. And then you can see as I'm winding it back, this is a really nice straight edge. And then straight over like that. And then grab my insulation tape. There. And then another little tip, if you want, when you're putting insulation tape, you can just hold the tape down, the handlebar tape like that, and then just put the insulation tape like that, and then start winding it over and over, making it nice and neat. Or what you could do, which makes it arguably a little bit neater, is actually just unwind it just a little bit and put it underneath that overlap. I hope you can see what I'm done. Done that, put that back on, and then tighten on or put the insulation tape. And I normally pull the tape quite taut, and that just gives you a really nice finish. You'll probably see it on the other side here. And also, but just by pulling it on it taut, and if you leave this little edge of the insulation tape, if you pull it taut, what happens is the insulation tape actually curls round the tape, and so it sort of seals it from this side, which stops water getting in, or minimizes the water getting in. You'll probably see it when I do this side. So just like that, nice few times around. And then with this one, you could just snap it with your fingernail, but I like to just cut it a little bit off, and it makes for a nice even cut. And I always make sure that that last bit just wraps almost underneath the cable, so it can't get pulled by the fingers or the hand and come loose. That's that. Just rub it down a bit, and then you have a nice finish. And then put the hood back on, and then the cap, again, you can put the logos sort of wherever you want the brand logo to go to copy it. I'm just going to push it up, aim it up, and then just put that in there. And I'll do the same on the other side, so it's nice and even. So again, it's a little thing that when the rider is riding and then they see the little logo or whatever it may be the word, they're running nice and evenly. And again, finishing touches mean a lot. And that's that. So no gaps, nicely on. Right, I will do the other side. So I'm not going to take it off again right to the end. There's no need. You've seen what I've done then. That's pretty simple. So wind on. This has already been wound on quite nicely. There's even gaps. So I'll go around. Actually, let me just check that there's no necks in that. Oh, this one's pretty good actually. I'm just going to check that this is in view because I moved the camera. Yep. Okay. Okay. So yeah, even gaps. Those tapered edge to tapered edge, so it feels nice and smooth in the hand. And I think Physique does a handlebar tape that actually has ridges. It's like stitching, and I guess that can aid in the grip of the handlebar. But with this one, it's going to be even. So, come around. I'm almost coming to the shifter here. So this is nice and even, as I said. Come around here. And then what I want to do is just make sure that I'm not leaving a gap at the front here where sometimes you can't see. So around there, this might be a better shot than the other side. Around, and then you want to go to the back of the bar diagonally, pulling fairly taut. So around, up the back of the bar diagonally, over the shifter, through, and then you're going to come through here and back to the outside of the bar diagonally again. Again, putting a little bit of tension on because you don't want it to be left loose like that. Hopefully you can see there's, with that, because your hand, that's just untidy. And your hand will catch it, it just doesn't look nice. So a little bit of tension, and just check it. And I like to check that the crisscross is in the middle of the bar if I can. So up, diagonally down, round that below the shifter, so going inwards again. Then back through here, and then diagonally up and over again, like that. Maybe I should do it again just to show you. Otherwise you're going to be rewinding and playing and rewinding and playing. So, wind the tape on nicely, nice tapered edges to edges. And then back through here we've got that little bit of a gap that I showed you on the other one, and probably you can see it nicely on this one. A little bit of a gap. So through there, through to the outside of the bar diagonally, going up and over the end of the shifter, and back down the inside of the bar, this time going diagonally down like that, under the shifter, almost making contact with the shifter. It doesn't matter if it makes a little bit of contact with the shifter. So diagonally, and then you're going to go diagonally through and then up and over like that. Let me just check my X. Yep. Okay. And then nice and even. You can see I'm just giving the tape a little bit of tension. Interesting noises coming from the tape. And then what you want to do before you cut it and put the final bit on there is just make sure, if you can, that you have even spaces on both sides. Yeah, that's pretty good. Otherwise, if you don't, it doesn't look nice again. So, and it's pretty simple, just unwind it to the top here and then wind it back on. And then come to a point. And again, final touches, which the rider may or may not notice depending, is I like to make sure that it's even on sides. So I'll just put my tape measure on there, so that's 5 centimeters and then 5 centimeters. So 5 centimeters is roughly there. So I've got loads of tape I can play with. So grab my scissors. And I've just made a visual note of where that 5 centimeters, which is almost the middle of the tape there. So I'm just going to come back here. You just have to choose a point on the tape. And like I said, I don't like mine to have an aggressive angle, so I like to try and make it as straight as possible. So it's going to go down like that. And I sometimes just leave a little bit more, because then I can always go back and shorten it, whereas I can't go back and lengthen it without putting new tape. So I'll probably cut that a bit too long, because my 5 centimeters is, again, yeah, I'm gonna have to undo that a little bit more and then do this. So it's nice to be live on the video, because you can actually see what actually happens. There you go, and as I say, just chop a little bit off there just to make it nice and not too tapered. And put that around. And you can see that's coming to a nice finish there. It's nice and straight. I don't have to, it's not like that, it's not like that, just a nice finish there. And I will double check that for my 5 centimeters. A little bit more, so what I need to do, it's like 5.4. Just come back on the tape a little bit on itself, just unwind it and then wind it back on. And that's my 5. Just a little bit back. There you go. That's, I don't know if you can see it, 5 centimeters. And grab insulation tape. I'm going to do the same as what I did on the other side. Just unwrap this a little bit here, so you can see, and then I'm going to put the tape on in line with the handlebar tape, like that. Make sure it's nicely stuck down, and then put this back on like that. And as I wind the insulation tape, just makes for a nice finish. Back over the handlebar tape like that, making sure everything's nice, and there you go. So I don't know if the camera is picking this up, but there's a tiny sort of gap between the insulation tape and the actual handlebar tape, and that's just that first round. So what I'm going to do now is just pull a little bit tight on the handlebar, on the insulation tape, just on the edge. And what that does is, if you put enough tension on it, the edge of the insulation tape will wrap round the handlebar tape, almost sealing it. It gives it a nice finish, and I'll do that a couple times. So it's once, twice, and then I'll ease off and just because when you pull it too tight it sort of loses color. And then ease off a little bit and just come back, and now you've got back to that sort of dark black and not sort of a light black or dark grey like that. And then around, scissors, and then let's say I just cut a little bit extra with scissors so it gives that nice finish, and then just wrap that around. And again, that's just underneath the cable so that the fingers and hands don't grab onto it. And there you go. And then put that back on. And always check that the logos are the same. So this one just needs to come out and be pointed up a little bit. There you go. And that's how you put handlebar tape on. Hopefully I've made that clear for you. Give me a shout, leave any comments if you want me to do some more. I might actually make another one of, whilst this is nice and neat, I've done it a few times and I do get asked for this quite a bit, of how to minimize the insulation tape. So you almost have like a 5mm bit of insulation tape, and it looks super neat. I recently did a post on our Instagram page of the finished product, so I'll do another one on that. But yeah, stay tuned for that one. But thanks very much for watching. Cheers.